Okay. Hey, everyone. This is Dave from a greater town. And as you probably know by now, we are focusing this entire series is about local businesses where we speak with the owners and sort of get their story. What we like to say we're doing here is taking back Main Street. So, with that said, today we have Cody Muren from Full Swing Health. And let's just get started with the basics, Cody.
Awesome.
Where are you from?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. Okay. And your practice is in Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. So what we like to do is sort of go chronologically, right? From like the very beginning. You're from Jacksonville, Florida. Um, where did you go to school? Did you go to school for the practice that you're doing now?
Yeah. So I played college baseball in Georgia. So I went
Yeah.
to LaGrange College where I studied biology and then graduated from there and went to Palmer College of Chiropractic in Port Orange, Florida. So just south of Daytona
Yeah.
is where I studied to get my doctorate in chiropractic.
Okay. All right. So you were an athlete. Baseball,
Yeah.
you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. What was that like?
It was good. It was good. Definitely what led me towards my career. I suffered different various injuries and um, loved playing baseball, so nothing kept me off the field too long.
Yeah. 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 Well, I've got a bunch of questions for you regarding injuries and athletics and performance and all that, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, all right. So when did you finish the school?
I finished getting my doctorate in the end of 2017 and was licensed at the very beginning of 2018.
Okay. All right. So, all right, that brings us to roughly, 2018. Did you start the perhaps full swing right away, or did you
No, I
do a little
actually
more?
I practiced as an associate for roughly 5 years under another chiropractor. So I learned from an experienced chiropractor in that fashion, and then went off and branched off into making my own practice.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So, and when was that? When did full swing start?
Full Swing started in it was March 1st of 2023.
2023. Okay. So that's roughly end of pandemic?
Yeah, yeah. So it was kind of a crazy time, but
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So now you're roughly 3 to 4 years in,
Yeah.
and how's it going?
Good. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing and tons of services and bringing
Yeah.
on new people.
Okay. So I want to, well, let's do that first. So just give a high level of the services.
So our primary service is chiropractic. That's what our office is. Um, but alongside that, not only do we do chiropractic services, we also offer massage therapy, acupuncture, dry needling, and cupping and scraping. So those are tools to help loosen up the fascial adhesions.
Okay. It's funny. My one of my boys has become obsessed with the fascia.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. Okay. And he's like trying to activate it and like we could talk for hours about this. I'm sure
Right.
anyway, so all right, so acupuncture. So I mean, I understand the services, the names, but as the average consumer, I don't really know what that means. I just know acupuncture as a word. What is it used for? What would how would that help me?
Right. So everybody always associates acupuncture immediately with the needles.
Right.
That is essentially that's the key to the ignition. What we're looking for with acupuncture is there's essentially these roadmaps along the body in ancient Chinese medicine that they figured out are either areas of too much energy, not enough, or a lot of stagnant just changes. So essentially what we do is we use the needles to hit certain spots along the body that I describe as you're dealing with traffic on the road
Right.
and you've got a lot of detours. We're clearing those detours so the traffic can flow normally, and that comes from our energy.
Wow. Wow, it's fascinating actually. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay.
So it
Uh,
can treat a various amount of pain issues as well
mhm.
as stress, anxiety, um, even things like smoking addictions and things like that as well.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Through acupuncture. Wow.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's incredible. I never would have no guessed, that. Okay, and then you said, sorry, I'm going to get the terminology wrong. Cup?
Cupping. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that about?
Yeah. So cupping is along the lines of the myofascial stuff. So myo meaning muscle, fascia meaning the essentially the webbing between the skin and the muscle that helps those areas glide. So what we do with cups is we will typically hit threefold different ways. So we will put the cups on, and typically we're hitting the musculature, the areas of pain or restriction. And we can either have the patient laying with those on, just completely static. We have some where we'll actually take them through movements with the cups on to help increase the range of motion. And then we have glided cupping where we will actually move the cups around with that suction already
Hmm.
connected to help break up areas in a more cohesive manner.
Hmm. Okay, so it sounds like um, I don't know what the right word is, maybe more sophisticated version of massaging.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
times I'll tell people when we put them on, it kind of feels like pushing on that knot or that trigger point,
Hmm.
and it helps relieve that tension there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's fascinating. Like I'm already learning a lot. Okay. So, okay. And now everything or this group of services that you just described is not, or you tell me if I'm wrong, it sounds like it's not exactly chiropractic. That like that chiropractic is a separate thing. Is that right?
Right. They're kind of like a sidekick to chiropractic.
Right.
So when we bring somebody in, they will typically be analyzed for muscle restrictions, joint restrictions, and nerve either overactivity or inactivity. So, based off of what we find with that patient, we'll decide whether we're going to be doing chiropractic, which is more joint manipulation, increasing range of motion in the joints, where we're finding areas that are kind of stuck, not moving as well. Or if we're going to do more of the muscle work, things like cupping, dry needling, and acupuncture, or a combination of all of them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Right. So you got a bunch of different tools in the, toolbox that you
Yeah.
use to solve the problem. Right. Okay. All right. All right. So now I'm gonna dive into I'm gonna be selfish. Okay. This is I have twin boys. They are um obsessed is a light word when it comes to soccer, right? They are waking up before school, a couple hours, 6 a.m. before school to train every morning. They go to a soccer academy where they play for 4 hours every day, and then they go to their club practice after um, they're done with school, right? Crazy dedicated, whatever, right? So one of them has developed some knee pain, or actually both knees, right? And we went to a physical therapist yesterday. So the first thing I want to try to understand is what is the difference between physical therapy and chiropractic work?
So we have a lot of the same philosophies and values, but the big difference between chiropractic and physical therapy is with chiropractic, we are looking to immediately, very efficiently, and quickly increase someone's range of motion in their joints. So they can be dealing with those restrictions where they're just not as flexible as they need to be. They're not able to fully move a very specific part of their body, let's say neck or shoulder, something like that, and we restore that full range of motion. Whereas physical therapy is more focused on strengthening surrounding musculature, adapting that through more of a muscle recovery that way, a rehabilitation technique. And those are a lot of things that we do as well. So we will help increase that range of motion and then provide exercises to restore that range of motion and keep it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So following this thread, right? Like I said, we went to a PT yesterday and we learned that Matthew is his name. Matthew's hip mobility. hip flexibility is not terrible, but not where it should be, which is, incredibly um, important for a soccer player. So, the PT gave him a bunch of exercises, and that's great, and he's doing them already. Um, but it sounds like your approach to it would be different than what, a PT would do. So tell me a little bit about what you would suggest for somebody like that that's trying to, I guess, open up their hips, for lack of a better or less technical word.
So in our office, we make sure to always educate on the musculature involved. A
Yeah.
lot of times people will come in with a hip mobility issue or a low back issue, and both those things go very hand in hand. So somebody like Matthew, I would analyze for not only the hips, but the knees, low back. We're always looking above and below those areas as well, and making sure we're restoring as much motion as we can in both those areas. So with somebody like Matthew, I would most likely do things to decompress, open up hip mobility through a hip manipulation that we do, as well as restoring more motion in the pelvis, in that low back, to help those SI joints of the pelvis move more properly. And
Hmm.
that attaches into a lot of spots in the hip.
Hmm. Okay. So am I right in saying that you don't need to have had I'll use the word traumatic event or accident or injury, like, serious injury to benefit from chiropractic from you, right? From your practices. A player like Matthew, who's not really injured per se, could benefit from what you're doing.
We see tons of different athletes strictly for performance.
Right,
So, for instance, we'll see baseball players, golfers who may have like they feel like they're just not getting through their swing as
right.
well as they should. So we'll work on whether that's a shoulder issue, a hip issue, low back, and make sure we're just taking who they are and making them the optimal version of
Yeah,
themselves.
right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm learning a lot about this because of through the boys. And it's really fascinating stuff. I kind of wish we knew this earlier. And, I guess the sad part is we really didn't have a reason to know until like we had a reason to go to a PT or an ortho or whatever. And that kind of like started the learning process. We started, trying to, yeah, I just wish more people knew about it because it made a giant difference, when we went to these places. And I didn't even really know that purely performance enhancement was a thing, right? It just
Yeah.
seemed to me like it was about recovery from an event, right? So, yeah, that's great. All right, so we've covered the chiropractic part. You talked about the other sort of supplementary or, supplementary services. Is there anything else you would like people to know about how the practice works or just, the chiropractic in general?
Yeah. So, fortunately, about 2 years ago, another thing that we added was our stem wave device or shock wave therapy.
Hmm.
So that has really been a game changer for the office because it works on a cellular level that we can't quite get to without this type of technology. And it's
Right.
able to penetrate deeply into areas of really significant injuries where people are able to avoid surgery and drugs, and it's non-invasive and they can continue going about their normal life without any downtime.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, I'm gonna just because, again, sports thing, I'm, living in that world now, I'm sort of relating stuff to that, right? Another thing I learned in terms of sprinting, right, and running mechanics and all that kind of stuff is, that your hips are incredibly important. The range of motion and how your legs stride and hit the floor and all that kind of stuff is incredibly important. So how would any of the services you provide help with those motions?
Yeah, I actually like that you mentioned that because I worked personally with a former bobsledder for the U.S. Olympic team who trained me on essentially how to be fast. And there's a
Hmm.
lot of ways that, people think you can't teach speed. You can very well teach
Yep.
speed. And from that knowledge that I gained from somebody who was incredibly fast, I learned much more in depth about what muscles are firing through certain parts of a sprint.
Hmm.
So, if that were something that somebody wanted to increase performance based, we look at where they may be having trouble. We may analyze how they sprint, what it looks like when they sprint, and that lets me know, okay, this muscle isn't activating as well, or it seems like they're hanging on one side more than the other, kind of asymmetrical with their
Right.
sprint techniques. So we would look at those, open those things up, and get those moving properly.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's fascinating. It really is. There's so much out there to know, which is why we do these videos, you know. I mean, part of it is to just hear about you and the business and, get the word out about the great work you're doing. But it's also to help educate consumers, like me right now. I didn't really know this stuff until recently. So I'm really actually glad that we're here talking about it. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else that you would like people to know?
Yeah. Amongst other things that we take care of in the office, we see people after auto accident injuries.
Right.
Those things are entirely more common than I thought. Also, when I first started 8 years ago, I didn't really understand how detrimental those things are, how chronic they can become. And so we work very quickly after these accidents to try and not let these injuries become chronic. So things like whiplash, um, disc herniations, we make sure we're getting that information and treating those patients.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up that way. And again, I'll use my boys as an example. So Luke, the other twin, had some neck pain, and we went to see someone, and they told us that this muscle is overpowering this muscle, and it's causing his head to go forward, right? And that's causing stress on the back or on the back muscles, and it was giving him neck pain, right? So they told us how to fix it, and he fixed it, and it worked. I was blown away, right? I mean, maybe it sounds really simple and silly, but again, if you're like the average consumer, you think, oh, I'm going to have to suffer with neck pain for the rest of my life. But it's not true. Like, you as a professional know these things that me as a consumer, dummy, basically, um, don't know. So I'm saying this now because through my experience, I now much more frequently go to services like yours and PTs. Um, and I just kind of want everybody to hear me say this so that they'll do the same because it is 100% worth it. It really makes a difference. And I'm sure you see these cases all the time. I mean, that's the point of what you do, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see a lot of times, people will have this dark umbrella thinking that chiropractic is scary and dangerous.
Right.
And very often, it is the opposite. So we are, I would say, uh, the least invasive of any of those services. So our techniques are gentle, they're safe, and I will see people who have gone through the gambit of injections and ortho visits and physical therapy, and within a couple visits, they're at a level that they haven't been in years, and are just like, I wish I had done this first to help my
Yes.
issue.
I was just going to say, I happen to work in healthcare, so I have some knowledge of sort of the way, a patient moves around, right, with diagnosis and whatever. And I was just going to say that it's probably the smartest thing to do to start with um, chiropractic first and move up the chain, right? Versus
Absolutely.
what everybody does, which is go to the ortho first and move down the chain, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, when you go that route, it's It is kind of, I don't want to call it backwards, but it is kind
Yeah.
of like you're jumping the gun. A lot of
Yes.
times
Right.
these, orthos, they do surgery,
Right.
and our goal is to avoid that. And a
Right.
lot of times these people can avoid surgery, and the answer is very simple.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. And, just for anybody that's listening, I'm going to repeat myself because I just feel like it was such a learning moment for me. I'm going to back up what you just said. Sometimes it's so simple, with the neck thing with Luke and another sort of similar thing with my wife. The solution was so simple, and we spent all this time and effort going down kind of the wrong route, and ended up in chiropractic, and it worked. And I was surprised, to be frank, not because I had like that dark umbrella thing going on, but just because I just didn't know, and we tried it and it worked, and I'm happy.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Those are the,
Yeah,
those patients that come in with not a lot of knowledge on what we do, and we help them that quickly, and they see how comfortable everything is
right,
very cool.
right, right. Okay. All right. Well, that's probably all the questions I have. I'm happy to keep going if you've got more things you want to cover.
I think that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been awesome.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we'll put this on the channel and give anybody that's watching plenty of ways to reach out to you if they want to. So with that said, thanks for coming on, and let me know if you got any questions.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it very much. It was
All
great
right.
talking with you.
Yeah, you too. All right, take care. Bye.
Thanks.